we haven't had a STEAM class in like 6 months. So what we wanted to do was kind of have another one, kind of go over just a little bit of what we learned in the other classes and then apply it to holidays, which is coming up. So literally I could easily, and maybe someday I will, do 100+ activities with STEAM just around the holidays. There's so much stuff to do. What we're going to do tonight is just pick out a few of our favorites that you guys can use going forward. And what it's going to do is just kind of help you think, when you're doing all your holiday fun, is there some learning to be had in this particular event that I'm doing? So that's what we're going to do. For those of you who haven't taken a STEAM class before, STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Mathematics. So those are the areas on a national initiative that we're trying to get stronger in. The reason why is because, for one, we want to be better global citizens. We want to help people out in other countries. We want to be the innovators coming up with things. And we don't want to outsource those jobs to other countries. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that we feel that we have a confidence in our people here that we can do this. So we're trying to teach our young ones at an early age that science and technology, engineering, it can be fun, as well as learning that, providing jobs in the future for us. So we're going to do that. We got Halloween in a couple days coming up. So we're kind of doing this just a couple days before. But just because Halloween is going to end, that doesn't mean the STEAM activities have to end for it. So you can take these activities and do them for several days afterwards. In fact, it even kind of works to your advantage because kids get bummed when November 1st comes and they realize, I can't wear my costume anymore. You know, there's so much excitement for the month, and then one day and it's over. So you can say, well, hey, let's get out some of these activities and do it, and still having Halloween activities even past Halloween. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of these different activities on here. We're going to talk about how to do them, and then where the STEAM learning is within each activity. So the first one is about candy corn. So there's polarizing opinions on candy corn. You either love it or you absolutely hate it. So I know that they make everything out of candy corn now. Ice cream, gum, everything possible that you can think of out of candy corn. But some people just absolutely hate the taste, and some kids just do not want to eat that when it's put in their bag. So you know what? Let's turn it into a science experiment in doing that. So candy corn is just this stuff right here. Easy to get. You can pick it up at your dollar store, any place. There are tons of activities that you can do with this. We're going to focus just on a couple of them tonight. So the first one here is the candy corn experiment. So all you really need for this is just a few clear jars or a few clear cups. Some of those party cups are really see-through. You know, they're clear. You can use those as well. What you're going to do is just take a few pieces of this, and you're going to put them in each one of the cup. You can actually use a little bit of mathematics in there and let them count out how many they're going to put in each cup. And then once they do that, you're going to use oil for one of the cups. And you don't have to fill it all the way up to the top, just so the candy is covered. Water in one of the cups, and then soda in one of the cups. And soda's going to come into a big play right here. So after that, this is an activity you can do like in the morning time. Check back periodically throughout the day, every hour, to kind of look at it. And what's going to happen after a while is all that sugar on that waxy coating is going to start to break free, and it's going to start to erode and corrode and just look disgusting when it's done. The process is corrosion and erosion. So corrosion is a chemical breakdown of something. Erosion is outside forces on something like the water, the oil. Chemicals can be the chemicals in the soda breaking down the waxy coating on the outside to do it. So it gives you that opportunity to talk about what's happening in those cups with your child. Now they can guess before it happens which one is going to get the yuckiest first. And they can guess. Maybe water, maybe oil. Things like oil, that's going to actually keep that coating on that candy. Water will start to break it apart, but that soda is going to start to bubble, and things are going to come off of that, and they're going to see what it looks like. So it's a great experiment with that. That leads into another discussion. So November 1st comes around, and your child has this gigantic bag of candy. You want them to eat one piece a day. They want to eat the whole entire bag. So the question comes up, why can't I have more? I want some more. I want some more. So you start to explain to them about the sugar content in candy. It goes over their head. They just want candy. So a little experiment, it's not on your paper, but you can write it down if you want to, is the egg experiment. Just take a couple of eggs, hard boil them so they're nice and hard. You're going to put them in a cup and then cover them up with soda. Soda is sugar, almost pure sugar to a point, so you can teach your children that this is what sugar does to your teeth. Now the eggshell is a great substitute for the enamel on your teeth. So in the morning, dump that soda out, pull out the eggs, and they will be brown, extremely brown. This is what sugar does to your teeth when you have too much of it. Lesson learned. But it doesn't stop there, because if you have an extra toothbrush around the house, you can get a little bit of toothpaste, put it on the toothbrush, and they can actually brush the eggs, and they will come clean. So there's your process of using that as well. So it kind of teaches them sugar bad for your teeth, brushing is great for your teeth. Let's do the first in moderation, and let's do the second all the time. So there you go. There's your lesson learned with that as far as candy goes. I talk fast when I do these, so if you have any questions, shout it out or raise your hand and we can answer them. All right. Another experiment is counting with candy corn. So we want to do math whenever we can. Math is probably the one to be considered the least fun. The kids really want to see a game out of math. Holding up flashcards, counting to 1 to 10, those are okay, but what they really want to see is something like a game. So this particular game right here, counting with candy corn, involves making a pumpkin face using the candy corn. So you just take some scissors, cut out a regular pumpkin shape out of a piece of construction paper, and then you're going to give them some glue and then a handful of candy corn. Now the question is, how many candy corn does it take to make the face on the pumpkin? Now as they have their glue on there, you can even help them if they can't get the glue on. You know, the older kids can do it themselves, the younger kids might need some assistance. Let them count as they put each one on. Here's 1 for the eye, here's 2 for the eye, here's 3 for the other eye, here's 4 for the other eye. And the process, they're counting, but the excitement is that they get to put the candy on this thing to make a pumpkin face. They're making a piece of art. In the process, you're teaching them how to count. Now this can be done during Halloween time, it can be done with Thanksgiving, putting synthetic feathers on a cutout of a turkey. It can be done at Christmas time, putting bows on a package, anything you can do to get them to count. But to them, they're just having fun with it. So it's a fun process as well. All right, so I'm going to give you another bonus one here for Halloween. And you guys all know what these are. These are glow sticks. Most of your glow sticks nowadays are made with non-toxic substances inside of them, but you need to be careful to make sure what they are. We all have these. I had these growing up. When I was a kid, there was one manufacturer of these, and they made them every year at Halloween time. Now they're everywhere. You can find them every place. This one may not work. The glass may be broken inside, but the fun part is talking about how they work. So scientifically, what's inside is a glass tube with hydrogen peroxide. And it is going to be mixed with a solution of phenol. When those are mixed together, they create something called phenol. Phenol is mixed with ester inside, and all the atoms, they just start going crazy. They start getting a lot of energy, and the energy is pushed out into the electrons. The electrons shoot out as far as they can, and then they lose their power and they start to fall back towards the nucleus. When they do, all their energy is released into the fluorescent substance, which makes this light up. All right, big, long scientific explanation. All your child knows is when we break it and shake it, it glows. So you can use this. I'm not sure if this one is going to work or not. So we'll see. This one's been around for a while. Yep, a little bit. All right. So there's a lot of things that you can talk about with the glow stick. Not only is it safe for them to carry when they're out trick-or-treating because cars can see them, these are used by Marines, Army, military. These are used by rescue workers. These are used by a lot of people in their jobs because, one, they're safe, and two, they work effectively to be seen in the dark. So what could you possibly do to talk about a light stick, a glow stick, to help your child? Well, how about talking about bioluminescence with animals? How does a firefly light up? All right, how does I forget what kind of shrimp they're called, it's off the top of my head, but they also glow. Their bodies can glow when they're in the ocean as well. This is actually chemiluminescence, so you can talk about how chemicals mix to make things light up. There's some experiments you can do with these. So since this is a chemical mixture, it has a reaction to heat. So you can actually get a cup of water, heat up the cup of water, stick it inside, and this thing will glow as bright as the sun. It'll just go crazy with the heat in there. Or conversely, you can take this out, put it in the freezer, and it will slow down the chemical reaction. It'll last hours longer, but it'll be duller. So you can kind of teach them the difference between something cold and something hot and its reaction on chemicals. So all that from a $1 light stick. It's pretty neat. And they can have fun with it. Now when you're explaining it to them, the point is to get them to understand the process of it, and they don't have to comprehend it all, but just understand that there's something inside that gets mixed up and that makes them glow. And then let them hold it, let them see it, let them experiment with it. And you'd be surprised if they start asking questions. That is the foundation for S.T.E.A.M, is to ask as many questions as possible, both you and them. Keep asking back and forth. And when you run out of questions, ask them, do you have any questions? And they'll probably come up with one. So you can keep going. So there's another bonus activity for you right there. All right, any questions or comments at all with that? Excellent. All right, so we're going to do a fun one here that requires a little bit of effort. Unfortunately, we can't make it right here because it involves some freezing, but I'll show you the materials. So you're going to take just a bag of surgical gloves and a bag of Halloween bugs or creatures like this. We're going to make a zombie hand. So for your older kids, they're going to love that. For your younger kids, it might be a scary concept. So you can call it a spooky hand. You can call it a frozen hand, whatever you want to call it, to their age level. So what you're going to do is open up the glove like this. And while you're holding it open for them, they're going to poke down as many of these little creatures inside as they possibly can. Try to get them into the fingers without ripping the glove themselves. So when they have the creatures in there, you're going to actually fill this up with water until it's nice and full, and then you're going to tie off the top with either a string or a twist tie. And then that's going to go into the freezer. And that'll be in there for at least 24 hours till it gets solid. It might even actually take a couple days depending on how cold your freezer is. So then once that's done, you can bring it out, use some scissors to cut it off, gently pull it apart so the fingers don't fall off, and you have a frozen hand with Halloween things inside. So that's exciting for your child to see. All kinds of fun stuff in there. But the question for S.T.E.A.M comes, how do we get those Halloween creatures out of the hand? So let them come up with a few methods. Well, maybe we could rub it. Maybe we could pour water on it. Let them give you solutions, and you can do all of those. But one for this experiment is to ask them, what if we put salt on it? So you can get regular table salt, iodized salt that comes in the big containers, and just mix in a couple of drops of food coloring in it. You could do red and yellow if you want to make orange for Halloween. So just colored salt. Then give them a spoon and let them sprinkle a little bit on the top, and right away the ice will start to melt as a chemical reaction on there. They're going to immediately want to put more and more and more because they start seeing those toys come out of the ice that they want to get to. So that's a fun experiment for them as well. You can call it spooky salt if you want to with the kids, and they'll have so much fun doing it. Also, if you want to, when you're putting the water in the hand, put a couple drops of red and yellow in there, and you'll have an orange hand, and you can talk about color mixing as well. So a really fun activity for them. All right. So this next experiment, those of you who've taken my S.T.E.A.M class before, you've seen this before, and this is just a little take on it involving the water bottle here. So this is going to take just a little bit of setup here. So what we're going to do, here. What we're going to do is take a white balloon, or you can use orange balloons if you want to make a pumpkin instead of a ghost. We're just going to take a black marker, and we're going to draw a little face here, a little ghost face on the pumpkin. Or on the balloon, excuse me. Just like that. Easy to do. Doesn't take much artistic talent, so, as you can see. All right, and then we're going to use good old baking soda and vinegar, my two favorite things for science, right here. So what we're going to do is open up our baking soda right here. And we're just going to put a little bit into the balloon. About a teaspoon is all you need. So we'll just open this up. I'll dump a little bit inside here. Just like this. All right, we're going to set that to the side. We're going to take our bottle here, but you'll probably have a full-size water bottle when you do this, so you'll use about a 1/3 cup of vinegar. So we'll just pour a little bit in here, like this. Just a little bit's all you need. Now here's the tricky part. You don't want to dump out the baking soda in the vinegar until you're ready. So what you're going to do is kind of let it hang till you get it around the lip like this. And then you can tell your child to count down. You can do a Halloween count, a spooky count. They can use a voice if they want, sound like a ghost. 3, 2, 1, and then you'll dump it inside. And there goes your ghost. Just like that. Yeah. So there's your expanding ghost. You can do it with bigger balloons, bigger water bottles. Keep it to about a half a cup of vinegar at the most, and you won't have to worry about it popping or blowing off. So there you go. All right, then we'll just pull it off the top. Now you can talk about what's inside here. So it's a mixture of baking soda and vinegar in the form of gas, and the gas is what blows this up. Always ask questions. They're everywhere. What happens if we let it out fast? It makes a sound. What happens if we let it out slow? It changes the sound. So the children are always learning when they do this. It's a fun activity. You do it once and they're going to do it over and over and over again. So you can get a lot of fun out of this. They're learning about a chemical process, but really to them, they get to watch a balloon blow up. They get to see a ghost. They get to see a pumpkin. It's all part of the fun Halloween. They're actually doing an activity for the holiday, but learning at the same time. So that's a great one. All right, any questions so far or comments? Anybody tried this experiment yet at home from the old classes? Okay, very good. This is really cheap. It costs you $1 for the baking soda, $1 for the vinegar, and $1 for the bag of balloons. And you can get literally an hour of fun out of it because I want to be doing it again and again and again. So, excellent. All right. So we're going to move on here. Now, I went to the CVS this morning thinking I was going to walk into a wall full of Halloween peeps. And I walked up and down and up and down. I said, where are your peeps at? You guys all know what peeps are? The marshmallow things? They didn't get me in, so I don't have any here to show you. But they do have ghosts. They have gravestones ones. They have pumpkins. Any of those will work for this experiment. What you need is a Gatorade bottle, just a normal Gatorade bottle size, and please take the lid off and throw it away, because you aren't going to need that. If you put the lid on during this experiment, you're going to have a big explosion. So you take the lid off, throw it away, and then inside the Gatorade bottle, you'll put one of those peeps. Ghosts are one of the fun ones, because they're just scary-looking ghosts. You'll put that inside, stick it in your microwave for 30 seconds. Now, you want your child to see what happens when they're microwaved, so you can pick them up, stand back a little ways away from it, and watch what happens. In that 30 seconds, all the heat from those microwaves are going to cause all the little tiny microscopic bubbles inside of there to expand, and that thing is going to blow up like a pillow inside of there. If you put 3 in and microwave it, it will shoot out of the top of the Gatorade bottle and all over your microwave, so it's going to be amazing to see, but you will have to clean it up afterwards. So you make the judgment on that. 1 is okay for a minimal mess. You can actually let it happen and then let it dry and it'll harden as well. So it's a lot of fun scientifically to do in there. So it's one I definitely recommend you try. It'll be a lot of fun. Definitely. All right. So moving right along here, we're going to go to bone math. Do you guys find it's difficult to teach math to your children when you teach it? Are they interested in it? Or some are? Okay. Good, good. Math can kind of be one of those ho-hum subjects. It depends on how it's taught. So you got to try to find new ways to innovate all the time to teach it. At this age that we have here at school, just learning the numbers is a big part of math. So we're trying to figure out a way that we can do that together in an interesting and exciting way. So we're going to do some bone math today. And this is very, very easy to do. So all you need is a sheet of felt. Black or a dark color is the best because it'll show up the best on there. And then a sheet of white, or I use brown in this occasion. You can use either one. And what you're going to do is cut links of the felt into the shape of bones. So they can be your skeleton bones for Halloween. Now the process is to ask the child to create a number using the bones. We'll see how this works on here like this. So they can stick one up here like this, one down here like this, one across like this, and one up like this. And they have their number 4. So they use bones to make a number, beginning parts of math for them. Then you can ask them, what else can we make? What if we put one across the top like this, and a couple more across the bottom? If you make about 10 or 15 of these, you can make any number you want. So, oh, it's falling apart. So you can make the number 8. So it's just to help them think outside the box when they're doing it. This is a brand new way for them to learn numbers, but it's Halloween themed. If you don't want to use bones, you can use little pumpkins and make the number with the pumpkins as well. So there you go. Yes?
So a 4-year-old that is, loves to count and has no problem counting,
Yes.
Where are they supposed to be as far as, mathematics is concerned? I mean, are you... what point do you start teaching them addition and subtraction and all that stuff?
You can try it at any time with them. Yeah, it's all subjected to the child themselves, the individual. Some children will be advanced in it and they'll pick it up right away and they can do it and they'll start doing addition when they're 3 years old. So, and then other children won't get it till later on. So that it's never hurts to try and to work with them, especially when you're doing something fun like this, because it's not forcing those numbers on them, it's having fun and playing a game and they can pick that up. So for instance, in this activity, if your child's already to the point where they're adding, make some small ones and do an equation on here to a 2 and a plus and a 3, and then let them use the bones to make the other one, you know, to make the 5 on it. So yeah, absolutely. If your child can handle it, you know, you never want to push a child, but a gentle nudge is okay. You know, so yeah, exactly. Introduce it to them and see how they're doing with it, and just find when they get to grade school, it's going to be nothing but books and reading and paper homework, you know, and they'll get a few little cognitive things here and there. But at this age, when their mind is the sponge right now it's the time to do all this fun stuff to get them really interested in it, and they're going to develop a love for that before they even get to grade school. They're going to be like, I love math. Math's fun. I do it all the time at home with my dad. You know, we do all these activities. So yeah, don't be afraid, like I said, to nudge a little bit. Let's try something new. So
we got a bunch of math. I mean, right now she has this little easel, and I got 1 plus 1 all the way to 1 plus 10.
Ah, very nice.
2 plus 1, and then 3 plus 1 all the way. But I didn't know, you know, if we're making numbers or.
Yeah.
She's pretty.
Does she practice writing the numbers? Can she write those?
We're still trying. We're working on writing the alphabet. You know?
Okay, right.
She knows the numbers like the back of her hand, but she's not really writing it yet. And we're trying to get her to write her name and stuff like that, because other kids are.
Right.
And you know, she sees the value in learning how to write your name. But I just didn't know, as far as math is concerned, if you're good with numbers, you know, what other things can you do? Like you said, you can add pumpkins.
Yeah.
1 pumpkin plus 2 pumpkins.
Exactly. As long as you're making it a game for her, she's going to want to do more of it. And have fun with it. The hardest thing as a teacher and as a parent is comparing children to other children in the class, because you will literally have a child that seems behind the whole class and then 3 months later is ahead of everybody else, because that growth is happening in the classroom at different stages.
She was disappointed that she didn't get a prize, and she saw another child get a prize for being able to write their name. So
I see. So that motivated her to try to do it.
So started trying to help her.
Right.
And so she's making progress, but
good. Yeah, definitely. Just find new and interesting ways. And I talked about this in the S.T.E.A.M class before, but just as a reminder for everybody, anything you can do to get away from pencil and paper at this age is positive. So she can use spaghetti noodles to count. She can use, anything like that. Shaving cream on a table that she can use her finger to make numbers in, to do an equation. That's going to seem like fun and like a game, and that's going to make her want to do it longer. Rather, as a lot of teachers just use straight flip cards and say, what's this number? And it gets boring after a while. It gets boring for adults after a while. So just finding a new fun way for her to do it's going to make her want to do it more. So, yeah, excellent. Very, very good. Anybody else have any questions before we move on? All right, we're going to get into November. So I did these by months. Whether you celebrate the holidays or not, that's okay, because all of these can be turned as just science activities or art activities and lots of fun. So these would be some for November. Now you notice that didn't do any pumpkin activities for October. I saved them for November. We always associate pumpkins with Halloween for obvious reasons, with jack-o'-lanterns and everything, but pumpkins are just as much as part of fall and of harvest, as for November as they are for October. So you can do a lot of activities with that. So this is the size of pumpkin that I recommend working with. So you can work with a larger one, that's fine. But this is one that they can pick up and hold and feel. It's a real pumpkin, it's smaller. Those big, massive pumpkins, I see the kids in the stores trying to hold them and they're taking them to the cart. So they're not exactly the best size for it, but these smaller ones are easier to work with and they still have the same science value in them. There are dozens of activities that you can do with pumpkins. There really are. So this is the time of year to stock up and to do that. So for this first activity here is just to explore a pumpkin, and this is just the simple basics of a pumpkin. Put out a couple of newspapers, cut open the top, but before you take the top off, ask them, what do you think is inside? Some kids have seen pumpkins before, and they'll say, I know there's seeds inside. We did that in the classroom. What's funny is when I was teaching the 3-year-old class, I would ask them, they would say, I think there's candy inside. I think there's cars inside. I think there's spiders inside. So we get all these crazy answers. Sometimes they were really excited to see the seeds, and sometimes they were disappointed. It's not candy, you know. So, but it was fun to find out. So ask them that first. When you cut open the top, let them reach into it and feel it if they want to. Now, some might have sensory issues and they don't want to touch the yucky stuff, and that's okay because they can observe. But if they're one of those children that like to jump in and grab things, and let them go for it. Let them feel the seeds, and then ask them the questions. How does it smell when you smell the pumpkin? Is it a good smell? Is it a bad smell? How does it feel in your hands? Is it slippery? Is it rough? How does it sound when you squish that sound inside for the pumpkin? So all kinds of questions like that are great to ask. And then don't throw those pumpkin seeds away. Keep them in a Ziploc bag because you can use them for other things. I don't have a recipe on here, but you can bake pumpkin seeds in the oven. It's very simple to do. Just a little bit of natural salt on them, and you can do that, or without the salt, either way, and you can bake them. But we'll use those in another experiment soon coming up here on the paper. So this is a great size pumpkin to get, and these are fantastic to do for harvest. So then that gives you an opportunity to talk about what does harvest mean. So this is the time of year when farmers plant their crops, the crops grow, and it's time to pick them before the winter comes and things get cold. Because when plants get cold, unfortunately, a lot of plants die, and so they can't grow again until the warm air comes. So you're teaching them all these lessons as they're learning that. So that's why we see pumpkins at this time of year, because it's harvest time. The real simple things that they're picking up on, but in the process you're teaching them how basic nature works by doing all of that. So very good. Okay, we'll flip our page over here. All right. So I don't know what Thanksgiving was like for you guys, but Thanksgiving was pretty much the same for me every single year growing up. So family would get together, we would have our big family meal, everybody would gorge themselves, and then Grandpa would go fall asleep in the chair, Dad would go watch football, my mom and my grandmother would look like an Avon magazine for 3 hours, and my sister and I were wondering, what do we do? So we're just running around trying to cause havoc, you know, the fun stuff. Then one year, my mom got the idea of, let's go for a walk after we eat. And the whole family got involved. So there was aunts and uncles and grandparents, everybody got involved, and it became a family thing. Now, how do we make that help us learn when we do that? So I have an activity here. This is called After Dinner Nature Walk. And really all you're going to need is a camera or a camera phone. So just about everybody has one of those nowadays. So get everybody involved when you have your family feast. After you're done, you're all tired, let's get out and go for a walk. But here's the thing. Grandma, you're going to be in charge of finding a pine cone and taking a picture of it. And Uncle, you're going to be in charge of finding an orange leaf and taking a picture of it. And Auntie, you're going to find a lizard, or you're going to find a yellow leaf and take a picture of it. So it becomes kind of a scavenger hunt. It becomes fun for the adults to do, because they don't want to let down the children that are in the party by not finding their part. So they're going around taking pictures of stuff, trying to find it. And then when they're done, have them all send you the pictures. Then you can print them out. And when Thanksgiving's over, the next day, you can print them out. Your child can glue them all onto a collage and make their own Thanksgiving collage. This is what we found in our nature walk for Thanksgiving. When they're in grade school, they can take that in and show their friends and show their teachers and impress everybody with it. It's a lot of fun. But it's getting the whole family involved into a STEAM activity. And it's a lot of fun. Different variations you can do on it. Let's drive someplace and then go for a walk. You can go into the forest and look for things. Really can make it whatever you want on your own. In the process, not only are you teaching them STEAM, but just a good, healthy life choice of walking afterwards after you eat to walk it off. So lots of fun with that as well. All right. Anybody have any suggestions or comments so far on any of these? Or anybody tried any of these yet at home? Good, good. I'm expecting you guys to try some of these this holiday season. So excellent. All right, a nature centerpiece. So we have these beautiful centerpieces that we can buy in the store that cost $50, $60, $100. You put them out for Thanksgiving, and then that's it. What I suggest this year is you let your child help you make one, because it becomes a great talking point for the family. So what you would do is go out and buy a pumpkin this size right here. Keep it intact till the morning of your feast, because if you cut it open, it's going to start to rot and smell after a day. So wait till the morning of. But the day before, go on another nature walk with your child and say, we're going to find some pine cones, we're going to find some leaves. Flowers, I don't recommend picking the flowers just because they're wild flowers. We want to let them grow. But if you have some in your own garden, or even if you want to buy some, in the store and put them in. You can do that as well. When you get home the next day, the next morning, you're going to cut the top off, gut it out just like you would a regular pumpkin, and then let them fill it up with the pine cones, the leaves, the flowers. Let them arrange it however they want. It's their work of art. Set it on a nice little doily, and there's your centerpiece for your feast that afternoon. When the family comes home or comes over to see it, your child can explain, I found that pine cone under the slide, and I found that leaf on the front doorstep, and I found this here, and it becomes a talking point for them to do. So they don't realize it, but they're finding these different things in nature to make a beautiful work of art in their mind. So a lot of fun on that as well. And get the family involved. Call ahead. Say, hey, Grandma, we're going to make the centerpiece tomorrow, so when you come in, make sure you comment on it, because she's putting a lot of work into it today. So Grandma will walk right in and say, oh, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, instead of, why is there a pumpkin full of rocks on the table? So let them know ahead of time that this is something you're doing to help your little one learn. So there you go. All right. So let's move over to plant a harvest garden. So whether or not you celebrate Thanksgiving or you just celebrate as a time to get together with your family, you can consider it a harvest time. We talked about that. We can't go out and sow a garden most places in our own backyard that day. But what you can do is get a few cups and fill them with soil, and then use those pumpkin seeds that you saved from your pumpkin exploration. Get the cups, put them in the windowsill, and let your little one poke their finger in the hole and into the soil. Put a couple of seeds inside, cover up, pour a little water on top of it. And then in a few days, pumpkin seeds, they shoot up. So you'll get some sprouts in a few days after that. And your kids can see it without having to wait a long time. Unless you're planning on transplanting them, they won't last for very long. They'll get as tall as they can, and then they'll choke out. But it'll let your children to see how the seeds work and how the harvest process grows of planting something and getting something out of those seeds. So, yes, very good one as well. All right, let's see here. December. All right. This is one of my favorite things to use for this time of year. Pine cones. We talked about using these for the centerpieces and using them for the nature walk, but you can use these at Christmas time to make ornaments. And if any of you had children in my class, you know you probably got one of these ornaments at one time for Christmas. Making a Christmas tree ornament out of this is a lot of fun. You can explain to children that these pine cones come off of pine trees, and now we're going to make one to make a mini pine tree out of it. They can use green tempera paint to paint it. Washable paint's the best. Obviously, you don't want to get it on clothes or furniture or carpet, especially if you're going to be having company come over. So green tempera paint to paint it. Let them put it on as thick as they want, because they're going to shake glitter on it after they're done. The glitter will fall on top of it and get right on the tips, so when it dries it's going to look just like snow. It's really cool. And then you're just going to use a little bit of tacky glue and a piece of ribbon to make a loop on the top, and then you will have a Christmas tree ornament to hang on your tree. Now, you can get bags of these in the stores for $3 or $4. Let your children make a bunch of them and give them out as gifts to grandparents, to aunts, to uncles, to cousins. You know, it's something that was cheap and that they really made from their heart. I mean, that's the best gift. That's what Grandma and Grandpa want anyway, is something that they made. So you can give them something like this. You can even get them already pre-scented, so they will smell even after you paint them like cinnamon. So make a great Christmas gift for them. You're teaching your child that you're taking something from nature, reusing it to make something else. So, yeah, great S.T.E.A.M lesson in itself. There's different sizes, big ones, little ones. But the most important thing is they're making something out of something else. All right, so snow. It's a foreign object to most of us here in Phoenix. So we try to explain to the kids in the classroom exactly what snow is now. Unless they haven't seen it before, you know, they have no idea. So we try to tell them, you know, it's ice, it's precipitation that freezes and then it falls down and it forms the snow that you can play in. We'll read books about it, but they don't really have an idea unless they've tried it. So this is a way that you can make some fake snow at home to kind of teach them what it's like. What you're going to do is get a bottle of water. You're going to put it in the refrigerator for a couple days. You can leave it overnight, but a couple days to get it as cold as you possibly can. Then you can take a couple scoops of regular potato flakes and put them in a bowl, and then slowly pour in the water while you stir it together until it gets to that icy consistency like snow. Now it'll smell like potatoes. You know it's potatoes, but to them, let's pretend that it's snow. And they will dig right in. This is something we did every year in my class. They would dig in, they would make snowballs, they would try to make little potato snowmen out of it. So it was a lot of fun to take that concept of snow and be able to do it at home. something very cheap, $1 box of potato flakes and some water. And there you go, you got a STEAM lesson for Christmas right there for him, for holiday snow. So it's a lot of fun. All right, so we're gonna do another bonus one that's not on the list here. Let's see if I have it in here. Nothing's more frustrating at Christmas time when you get your tree out and you go to plug the lights in and they don't work. And you don't know which one of the 300 bulbs on there is the one that's out. Fortunately, a lot of the new ones they make, they still stay lit if one goes out, but some of the old ones they burn out. So you end up just tossing the whole thing and that's the end of it. But there's actually a little science experiment that you can use with those. And all it requires is some scissors and a couple batteries. So I've got some D batteries here, but you can use 9 volt as well. These are safe. I can touch them together. There's not enough current for those to hurt anybody when they're touched together. So that's safe to use. And then we just have one of the lights cut off the line right here. So make sure you do that part of the cutting on there. And you're just going to fray the ends just a little bit so that you have contacts here. Now what happens is when you touch one into one part of the battery and one to the other, you get a little glow. You guys see that on there? So you can teach your children about how electric current works and how that's being used to light up. But then if you take a second battery and touch it to the bottom, you can see that it glows a whole lot brighter. So then you can talk about energy current and the difference between light current and a stronger current and how that can provide a brighter light. So you can use something like that. Otherwise, this would just be something you tossed away and never thought about. I guess I was a product of the times when I was younger, but I remember my father just giving me streams of lights. Like, here you go, this doesn't work anymore, do what you want with it. I was just a kid, so I was like, great. So I would cut these off and I would attach them to 9 volt batteries and tape them to the back of my G.I. Joe so they had little lanterns at night. That's what I would play with under the covers when the lights were out. So I'd have these little things. But really, it's a great science experiment just to teach the kids how that electrical current will make the light light up. So before you throw them out, cut one off and you can teach a lesson about it. So there you go. All right. All right, we got about 15 minutes left here. So we'll finish up here. We've got Christmas light shadows. Does anybody here have problems with their child in shadows at night in their room? No, good, good. That's actually pretty common for the younger ages. They'll be laying in bed and a car will go by, move shadows on the wall, and all of a sudden it's kind of scary. What was that? What happened? What made that move? So this is something that you can do to teach them a lesson on that or just do for fun. And this is Christmas light shadows. So you'll turn the lights on your Christmas tree and then turn off all the lights in the house and then just sit with your little one. You can hold them on your lap and just say, let's look at the lights. Let's look at the colors. The lights will naturally make shadows on the wall. So then that becomes the time to ask the question, what's making that shadow? What's that big square thing on the wall? Well, that's the back of the chair that's being reflected. Or what's that little thing up over there, that shadow? Well, it's the cat's head. The light's bouncing off of, things like that you guys can talk about where the shadows come from. Also, it's just kind of pretty to sit there in the quiet and to look at that and to see that man-made light that we have on our Christmas tree can make something beautiful as well. And they can look at that. Talk about the colors that you see, the color combinations. Oh, look, there's yellow on that wall right there. There's blue reflecting on that wall right there. What happens if we mix those together? What does it make? So there's always a chance to ask more questions in that. And that activity costs you nothing. You already got that stuff up for your decorations for the holidays. Take a minute, turn off the lights, and just talk about it. Spend some time there. All right, wrapping paper collage. So wrapping paper is something that you end up with a lot of during the holiday season. You rip it up, throw it in a bag, and then that's the end of it. But I would ask you this year to save some of it. Save several pieces off of different things. It doesn't have to be giant pieces, just little squares. When the holiday season is over, your child's feeling a little down because there's no more Christmas till next year, get out a piece of paper, pull out that wrapping paper, put some glue on it, or help them if they're old enough, they can do it on their own to put glue on it, and then let them start ripping off that paper and putting on, make a collage. That is a memory of the Christmas that they just had, or whatever holiday that you just had. You could have that, and they can stick it on their wall and have a visual memory of it, and it's fun. Something to reuse, recycle, upcycle, as you say, into a piece of art. So a lot of fun with that. Another thing is to use that wrapping paper that you left over to make some blocks. And we talked about this at one point in one of the STEAM classes. But if you have small boxes like this Kleenex box right here that's empty or something that's been given in a gift, take some wrapping paper, wrap it up, do several of them, and you can make some building blocks out of it. They can incorporate that with their own blocks that they have already. Blocks like this that are bigger they can use to stack up, but let's see how tall we can make our tower. Let's see how wide we can make it. Let's see how many we can put on top of each other before it falls over. So you can start asking all those early engineering questions that they're using when they build. So yeah, keep that wrapping paper. Don't throw it away. It'll come in handy. All right. Let's talk a little bit about giving. When this time comes of year, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, it's all about giving. It really is. Halloween time, we buy candy so we can give it out to the kids who are trick-or-treating. Thanksgiving, we have family come together, we eat, and we give of our time, we give thanks for what we have. When Christmas comes, it's about giving gifts to other people, teaching our children to not be selfish, to understand that they want gifts, but to teach them that it's also about giving as well. And there's ways that you can incorporate S.T.E.A.M into those. We already talked about the pine cones, giving that to the family. That's a great one. But this year, if you don't want to make that brownie mix that you give out to your family with a little note on it, try making something with S.T.E.A.M this year. Make a little bag and throw a bottle of vinegar and baking soda in it and some balloons with the instructions on how to use it. Make a little bag with the raisins and the Sprite in there and explain how you can put them both together and you can watch the raisins float up and down in the water. That's the perfect kind of gift to give to children in your family, young teens in your family, so they can do experiments. Making oobleck, that's so easy. Just cornstarch, put a bottle of water in there and some food coloring. And there's your gift that you can give away. You can give that to all kinds of kids. You got people at work that have kids, you can give that to them. It's an inexpensive gift, and it teaches them to think while they're doing something fun for the holidays. Let's see here. I would ask you for this Christmas season, if you're going to buy gifts for your kids, to try to make at least one gift S.T.E.A.M based. And that could be buying them their first Young microscope by Fisher-Price, something like that. Buying them a building set, Legos that they can use for engineering. Buying them an art kit so they can make a beautiful picture for you. If you're going to buy them some piece of technology, using something curriculum-based with that. So they've got a new pad, great, let's use that to go out and take pictures of nature. Things like that that they can use. They'll learn to appreciate those gifts more because you're spending time with them while they do that. You're sitting there with them building these towers, you're going outside and taking these pictures. So you're teaching them that the most important thing is that you spend time with the people you love and that you create something fantastic out of that. And that's really the foundation for S.T.E.A.M. It really is. So very good. All right. We talked about giving S.T.E.A.M to someone else. Might get out of here a few minutes early tonight. Does anybody have any questions so far on any of this or any comments? Which one seems the most like you would be able to do that this season? All of them? Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that.
I'm going to pick up some marshmallows on the way out.
Yes, get some Peeps. Get some Peeps. Yes, very good. I feel like Peeps has had this resurgence once they figured out that you can blow them up in a microwave. So people are doing it all over the place. So very good. Yeah, just take some time, and even if you don't want to do all of these things or any of these things on here, any time you can spend with your child doing something in these areas is going to be beneficial for them. And let them know why you're doing it. Say, hey, Chad Grace, I want to do some science time with you today. You know, and she understands that what we're about to do is going to be a lot of fun because I get to spend time with Dad, but we're going to do something called science right now. Or, hey, let's engineer a building, Artoon, out of these blocks. Use those words so he understands it and puts them together, and you know he's a great builder. He can build those out of this. Very good. Or, you know, it's time to do math time. You know, things like that. But we're going to play a fun math game. And use those words like fun, or let's do something exciting, or let's do something amazing when they do it. And that's going to get them. The worst thing you can do is, yeah, I guess we should do some math time. I got 10 minutes. Let's get together. They're out. They're out when you do that. It's got to be amazing and exciting. They got to see it on your face. Yes?
I know something that I mentioned at one of the other school things, but there's a website, it's Bedtime Math.
Yes. Yes.
They also have an app. It's got like a short little story, and then math problems for kids on there.
Yeah.
That you can do it right before you go to bed instead of reading
I just
bedtime
Google
stories.
S.T.E.A.M.
It's actually bedtimemath.com.
Bedtime Math.
Yeah, there's an app and it
There's
adjusts
an
for
app,
levels. Like they
Yeah,
have
it
one
does,
for like
it does.
higher, middle, and lower kiddos. So
Yes.
even Alexis at 3.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, oh, if you it's the the simple addition. If you had one pumpkin and your friend has
Right.
2, how many do you guys have together? And let's count them out. And she thought it was fun, so she's like, let's do another one.
Yeah. And the thing that's really neat about math is math can happen at any time. So let's say you're going out on a walk at night with your kids and, hey, we saw one cat and then we saw another cat. How many is that? I wonder if we'll see another cat. Oh, there's another one. How many do we have? And it's easy. Just throw that in. They don't care. It's math. They care is they're playing a fun game. Let's see how many cats we can count on there. But you're teaching that addition process. So yeah, lots of fun. All right, any other comments or anything? We went through this kind of fast, and I appreciate you guys coming out for this. I hope you guys can take this home and try some of these experiments and get back to me and let me know how they were and if they worked and if they had fun, and maybe we can do something, do more of these next year. So thank you very much for coming, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.